So welcome everybody. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community call. This is the 8 a.m. Tuesday call happening every single Tuesday, 8 a.m. Pacific time. And we have Microsoft presenters in here. So the whole point of this call is really to make sure that the feature PMs and the crew from Microsoft, from Redmond and all around the world have an opportunity to share the latest and greatest, what they have been building and shipping and telling you the story from a Microsoft perspective. On top of this call, we have a lot of other calls as well. We will recap all of them in a second, where we talk about also the real stories, what other people are building around the capabilities. But Tuesday call is really about Microsoft speakers and Microsoft presenters, so the people who are actually building the capabilities. Now, like typically, we will start the call with going through the latest updates and news on the Microsoft 365 Power Platform side, recapping some of the links which you might have seen in the past, but it's super important for also the new people to understand what is available for them to get started. And also, if there's any questions around any of the topics, what we always go through, we try to address them in the chat. So if you have questions, if you're new, you're like, hey, I have questions, please use the chat throughout the call. We do have typically 200, 300 people in the call, so we cannot really go to audio within these calls, but we try to be active on the chat always. Now, today we do have two demos, so we have a bit more time for the individual demos, which is great. And Carter will start by talking about create your first app with Teams AI Library. So getting started on using the Teams AI Library, talking about what is it, where does it fit, what is the use case on it. And then I will do a demo on getting started with SharePoint agents, create your Copilot agent in 20 seconds. What does that mean? 20 seconds, really? Well, debatable. Let's see how fast we can actually do it today. Depends on a day a bit as well. I'll explain as I go through the demos. But we'll also talk about what is the SharePoint agent, what does that relate on against the other agents, and what other agent options we do have available in Copilot, in the Microsoft 365 in general, or in the Microsoft Cloud in general a bit. Well, it's broad discussion. Anyway, we'll talk about that one when I get to that demo section. Now, we do have a lot of material to get started on the Microsoft 365 Cloud, and we have a lot of assets from a community side where you can actually get involved, and this is always encouraged. So if you're looking into doing, for example, community, if you're looking into going to MVP or getting more closely involved in the community or getting exposure with the community, a lot of these options are available for you to get started, and also for learning. So we do have our YouTube channel at Microsoft Community Learning video channel at AKMS Community YouTube. A lot of videos there. We do publish roughly 10 to 12 videos every single week, depending on a week, so at least one video per day, which is really cool. So every single day something new available within that channel. On top of that, we have our LinkedIn page and group for discussions and updates, one way of following up on what's happening and staying up to date on all of the great community calls and videos and material which is available. We do have a lot of open source assets available, which is by design, because we want to make sure that you don't have to bang your head against the wall by yourself, or all by yourself. There is an example material and samples to get started across everything in Power Platform, in Microsoft 365, in SharePoint, Microsoft Graph, prompts in Microsoft 365 Copilot, and so on. So there's a lot of stuff available. However, it might be a bit difficult to find the relevant sample for you, and that's why we have the sample galleries, and primary URL for those is AKMS Community Samples. It is a great location to find the relevant samples which community and Microsoft is providing for you to get started within the Microsoft 365 Power Platform. All of these URLs are at AKMS Community Home, one centralized one URL to remember how to get started on all of this stuff. Now, we do have a lot of community calls. We kind of touched that a bit already when we got started. The Tuesday call, where you are right now, is 8 a.m. Tuesday, every single Tuesday, except small breaks in the holiday season, in the Christmas time in the Northern Hemisphere, meaning the end of December, and then the summer season in the Northern Hemisphere, meaning July and August, we're typically on a break on the Tuesday call. On top of that, we do have our Power Platform monthly community call, Office Add-ins monthly community call. Power Platform is with community demos, Office Add-ins it's with Microsoft demos, and then we have our 7 a.m. every single Thursday series, which is either Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community call or Viva Correction SharePoint Framework community calls. And these are primarily community-powered demos, really an option for you to show what you built or to see what other people are building and creating with Power Platform or with Microsoft 365. You can always check up the agendas at our meetup service, and you can download the recurrent invites at AKMS community calls. Now, I did mention for a lot of those calls, We do welcome community demos. Super, super cool option. If you're looking into getting an MVP status or you want to renew as an MVP, it's a great option to actually get exposure because these calls, and especially recordings and the demo recordings as well, are getting a lot of views for you to benefit. This is also a great way of practicing your demonstration skills. If you are new, we will help you to get started. So there's a lot of guidance for you if you want to present in all of these things. How do you sign up? AKMS Community Request Demo, fill in the form, we will get you scheduled. So we have our MVPs and a community leads who will then contact you and will get you to schedule a community call and will help you to get started as much as needed. Now, we also have a lot of stuff to get started in Microsoft 365 for Power Platform in the Learn platform. I haven't updated those URL numbers for a long time. I should actually really remember to go and double check the numbers. But there's a lot of stuff for Microsoft 365, a lot of stuff for Power Platform directly in Learn, and all of that is free. So you don't have to pay for anything on that side. We also talked about a bit about the samples. We already have more than 2,200 samples at AKMS Community Samples URL. One centralized location to find relevant samples from Microsoft and from community across Microsoft 365 and Power Platform. So making it super easy for you, not expecting you to go and crawl multiple repos and GitHub locations and where on earth is the relevant sample. No, just go to this URL, write what you need in the text box, poof, and you will get samples available for you to get started. Really cool website. Now, as you find a sample, you might be wondering, what is this sample? It's in a GitHub. I don't know. What is a GitHub? Or you might be wondering that, wait a minute, I have this cool sample, but how would I get my sample available within that sample gallery? And that's why we have Sharing is Caring. And directly from LA Studios, David Warner is here to talk about what is, again, Sharing is Caring initiative.
Yes. The news from LA, everybody. Just kidding. So yes, what is Sharing is Caring? Well, it is a live, hands-on opportunity for us all to learn together. That means we're going to join live Teams calls, and as Vesa mentioned, you're not sure how to navigate that hub of Gits, that Git of hubs, that labyrinth of things like PRs and pull requests, which are PRs, and forks and blame and all. What are all those things meaning? It's confusing. We get it. And so we're going to work through it together. And guess what? These calls are an actual contribution. So you are going to get credit for a contribution just by joining and walking through it. And by the way, safe space. It's not recorded, so you can ask any and all questions that you want without the fear of thinking, should I already know the answer to this question? No one else asked it. Why would I ask it if no one else is asking it? We all learn together from somewhere. So we are getting them scheduled for January and February. I got a call with Hugo, the one and only Hugo Bernier, here this week. We're going to get scheduled. We promise. We know it's been the holiday season and then some other distractions at the beginning of the year here. So we'll get that on the books, and we'll let everyone know once we do. We're also going to be adding in some other topical sessions or technical sessions on how to accomplish some new things within the products that are coming out. So that'll be a cool way to learn about those in a live setting as well. And then once you do contribute, we want to recognize you for the amazing work that you're doing, and that is our recognition program. Yep, you see a 2025, those community contributor 2025 badges are coming hot off the presses and ready to be sent out. We're still processing some of those late 2024 badges for the folks that are maintainers and just kind of getting back from the holidays and vacations and spinning back up. So be on the lookout for those. Vesa and I were just working on some of that yesterday. So we are excited. There's going to be more new badges. I know that there's some badges for initiatives coming up here soon, like we had with the Refresh Rangers. So more fun and more ways for you to get recognized. And these are free, by the way. Just need you to opt in. We cover the cost, but they are real and accredited. So they're powered by Credly, which means that you absolutely should and can put them on your resume, put them on your blog, put them on your website, because it shows that you are making a difference in the community. And as Vesa mentioned, these are ways to get recognized, get those MVPs and all that good stuff. So we're excited to see what you got. Check it out if you haven't already. Vesa, back to you in the Finland studios.
Excellent. Thank you, LA. And awesome to hear that everything is fine on the LA studios as well. We were a bit worried about that one at some point. So that is a great update as well. I have to call this out from Olli in the chat. That kit of hub. That kit of hub, that hub of kits is the favorite term what you're using, David. That's a really good one. But it is seriously, if you're not familiar with GitHub, you might be like, well, what is this? So having the Sharing is Caring initiative, all of that guidance, all of the community members helping each other is super valuable. And again, everything is getting recognized as well. Now, quick recap on upcoming events and news and all of that stuff. So On 29th of January, we will have a really cool SharePoint special event happening at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So this is a 1-hour event, including AMA. We have people like Jeff Teeper, Melissa Torres, CJ Tan from Microsoft in that event, helping you to get started and understanding the art of possible within a SharePoint. A lot of cool new capabilities are getting actually demonstrated over there. We also have a Powerful Devs conference and a Hack Together coming in February 22nd. February 12th to 28th, 2025. Great option to get involved on building a Power Platform capabilities and building them together with community. Now, kind of related on the January event, that URL, by the way, is not yet up to date, but that's not yet working, but to be fair. But the dates and everything else is already in plans. So we do have also a hackathon on SharePoint and Viva Connection. And this is basically a UX hackathon. So, and yes, you can actually absolutely demonstrate cool-looking portals and Viva Connection capabilities with SharePoint framework as well. But if you are an end user and if you just are like, hey, I want to build cool-looking portals, just out-of-the-box features, you can still submit on this hackathon. So even though it says hackathon, it's actually for everybody, not just for hacking and IT and development, also for end users to actually join. So that's going to be a really, really cool setup as well as at early March. More details on that one in the 29th of January event. Now, in spring, we also have the Microsoft 365 Community Conference happening in Las Vegas, MGM, at May 6th to May 8th. We just closed up on Call of Content on this one internally on last Friday. A lot of cool sessions in the pipeline coming from Microsoft to that conference as well. Then we have the European Collaboration Summit in partnership with European AI Cloud Summit and European Biz App Summit. So everybody in one location at Düsseldorf at 26th to 28th of May. And we're expecting to have more than 3,000 attendees on this one. So if you're on this side of the pond and you don't have the opportunity to fly to Las Vegas, you can definitely meet other community members also in ECS. There's also TechCon happening in Seattle, Atlanta, and Dallas on that side of the pond in June, August, and November. Great opportunities to catching up with the community. And of course, we have the Power Platform Community Conference coming in October 28th to 13th, 2025 in Las Vegas, MGM Grand again. Now, and then the final conference this year is the ESBC happening in Dublin, 1st to 4th of December 2025. Now, one thing to call out here, tomorrow, Wednesday, 22nd of January, there is a special ticket launch exclusive, 1 day only, 2 for the price of 1. So if you're looking into going to ESBC Dublin on December this year and you already know that you're coming, 2 tickets for the price of 1. That's a pretty decent advertisement, or that's a really good pricing for that conference. So please take advantage of that one. Now, on top of these, we do have a lot of other conferences and events happening all around the world. And you can always catch on these at communitydays.org. So between January and February, a lot of events happening. Miami, Tennessee, Cameroon, Auckland. What do we have here? Las Vegas as well. So a lot of events happening all around the world where you can meet other people in the community as well. So please check out those details at communitydays.org. Now, last week, we had a lot of news. I would say the biggest news actually last week, for sure, was the fact that Copilot for All, introducing Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat and the partnership with Power Platform. And what that means is that we're enabling agents in Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat to be available. And that enables more and more people to actually build agents and getting access on Copilot, so taking advantage of the AI and the secure AI, what we're providing from Microsoft. So please take advantage and those options and have a look on more details within the blog post, which David thankfully shared in the chat as well. We will put all of these links in the video notes as well, so you can catch up on those as well. Now, before we actually go to the Together Mode picture, quick reminder also, we do have Copilot prompts, which is one of our new initiatives where we actually are collecting example prompts, how to get started with using Copilot, the different Copilots. This is including Copilot, Microsoft 365, GitHub Copilot, Power Platform Copilot, all of them. So easy, really easy way to actually get started on contributing. And this week's, we do have our youngest ever sample contributor, which is awesome. I think second youngest actually ever sample contribution. but the youngest ever sample contributor for prompts, which is Gavin Warner. And this relatively long text, but basically it's a prompt which asks GitHub Copilot to generate PowerFX formula, which generates a new record in Power Apps data source based on the details and fields and all of that. Great example. Actually, I'm using Copilot on helping you actually to write the code. And this is something which we quite often actually forget about. GitHub Copilot or even the Microsoft 365 Copilot is surprisingly capable, for example, giving us adaptive cards or UX code or bits and pieces. As long as you define what you want, it's able to actually give you the details as a reusable set of code. Really, really cool set, cool capabilities. And yes, indeed, calling Stephanie's comments in the chat, it is another Warner. Gavin might be closely related on David's. David, you want to actually talk about a few seconds here on this one?
Oh, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I told him he needed to start contributing more around the house, which I thought was taking the trash out. But this is even better, right? So this contribution is even better. Yeah, so he's getting into the industry and getting into all this. It's pretty cool. And that's another example. As your kids turn into adults, hey, if they're showing interest, then show support. We kind of worked on this together. Sharing is caring. Doesn't have to be strangers. So family members, friends, all the above. It's really, really fun. But Gavin, you still got to take the trash out.
Good reminder. Yeah. So please, Gavin, listen to your dad. Cool. Anyway, next, before we go to the actual demos of today, let's do a quick group photo. For those who are willing, you are able to enable the camera, and Todd is on the middle. Yes, we can see you there, Todd. Yes, we are acknowledging you. Yes, you're pointing me. Son of a it's rude, Todd, to point people. Just saying. Now, let's wait for a while. We have 50 seats in the room. I'm not going to actually. Where do I change the theme nowadays? Is it in here? I don't want to actually do that because most likely it's going to impact on the quality. It's pretty good now. So 50 seats in the room. Let's wait a few more seconds. We get a full room before we start recording. Do we get more people? Every now and then, there's a small delay of getting those cameras enabled and you to be visible. A few more. Here we go. I guess that will be it for now. Let's see. We might get still a few more. But 3, 2, 1, let's do some hand waving. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Awesome to have you on the call. We are pixel perfect today, so this is really good. Excellent. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Really, really cool to have you on the call. And good to see the smiling faces always. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for being part of this calls. Excellent to have you here. Excellent. We'll grab a GIF animation out of that and share that in the social media. Then it is actually time to go. That was the together mode. One more slide to the actual starts of the day, which is Carter Gilliam, and then I'm going to do another demo after Carter. But Carter, he's going to start with Teams AI Library, and I think Carter, it's been you were here last week, weren't you? Talking about
That's
the Teams
correct.
AI Library.
I was here last week.
And now we're going to go a bit more detailed on it.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Two things. Can everyone hear me and see the screen?
Yes, we can see the screen. Everything is good. Take it away.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so like Vesa is saying, this is the second week in the series for building your custom engine agent with the Teams AI library. So if you missed last week, go ahead and check out the video posted online to catch up. But we'll also be diving through just more detail. So this is a big chunk in the series right here for building your app. So even if you didn't see last week, this is a good one to pick up on too. All right. And so we're going to start out with just doing a quick recap on what we were doing last week, as well with additional context and details, because when you're building your custom engine agents, there's layers and layers that you can go deeper to perfecting your agents and your apps and adding on capabilities. We'll continue our build. Last week, we were going just over the general Teams toolkit, sample scaffolding and just running right with that. Today, we'll actually be using our own custom data that we're adding to it and actually specializing to our agent to make it be a financial analyst. So it's very exciting and relevant work to really get started in building your first agent. And then I'll end with just showing a link on how you can get started with that today. So if remember last week, Three big things to look at for when you're thinking about your agent. So one, they're very good at chatting with your data, retrieving information, which is also what we'll be diving more in today in building. So it's being able to take multiple different disparate data sources and then put them together for instant analysis to save analysts or other people hours and searching through those data sets to then get insights on it and pull it together in easy to way to just chat and go through with your data. Then you have the next level, which is performing tasks, which on Teams specifically, you could have be chatting in a meeting and then be sharing a model and then control the stage via natural language and perform other tasks via natural language. So there's ways that you can expedite tasks, automate them, or just enhance collaboration. And specifically with thinking about collaborative agents on Teams, that's where you can go through and think about these other surfaces for meetings beyond just chat and how you can expand those workflows. And so that's kind of the next step up of your agent. And then last, at Ignite is where you're beginning to see, the real agents emerge, where it's looking at long-term planning. And that's where we had Northwind Traders go forward and then do a 5-step process of reordering from a supplier, getting financial approvals, placing that order, and giving updates along the way. And that's where everything is going towards, and where you can go and build from beginning chatting with your data, tasks via natural language, to then full-on automation, big longer-term planning. So that's the idea of what you're going with agents. And with custom engine agents in particular, you have complete control of the stack from from the foundational models, orchestrator, and the knowledge, skills, autonomy, and then you can go and launch on Microsoft Teams or in Microsoft 365 Copilot. And that is in comparison to declarative agents, where it is based on Copilot's underlying model as well as orchestrator. So declarative agents can be a fast, powerful way to get started, whereas custom engine agents, you have full control all the time on your stack and your build, which makes it very exciting for developers and going and really fine-tuning the experience that you want to have with your users. And then last week, like I was saying, we got started with the Teams Toolkit extension for Visual Studio Code. We have these great templates to really accelerate your build. And that's where we're going to be continuing on this week and, going through our agent checklist. And then instead of just using the regular Teams Toolkit template, we're going to actually go through and pick out our build each step of the way, from building a financial analyst agent that is going to go through and be connected with Microsoft earnings call data that we had from last quarter, and then be able to analyze and reason upon that data that you could see providing to your entire organization, as well as specifically a finance team to go and look through and quickly go back and forth with an agent to gather insights and figure out what are some of the opportunities from either Microsoft. But then when you're thinking about yourself, you can think about many other data sources beyond this, many other companies for competitive analysis, figure out how your specific product group is doing overall. But there's lots of opportunities there. So we'll go ahead and dive into it with adding in our data, doing a specialized prompt, picking out our model, and then getting all those things with the feedback loop, everything that we touched on last week, but then actually going through this week for ourselves. Now, so let's go ahead and let's get started. So like I was saying, we start out in Visual Studio Code, and then we have the Teams Toolkit extension right here that you can get, and then you can go and, like we were doing last week, create a new app, custom engine agent, basic AI chatbot, TypeScript, and then you get a pick between which one do you want from Azure OpenAI models or OpenAI, and then enter in your keys, endpoints, and from there. And now I've already done it for this week's one, and then but if you need to go on a deep dive on how to gather that info, you can look at last week's call, or we'll go a little bit more today. So now we're just with our basic template here that you get scaffolded together. And then one of the first things you want to do is we go back to our prompts.txt. So when you get started, there is a very basic prompt. And these are the instructions for your agent. And so right now it says you are an AI bot that can chat with users. Now, to really get into specializing it, and this is what brings the power of these agents, is you have a good prompt. Now, for a financial analyst agent, you can think about many things. A little hint, you can even go and use Copilot or ChatGPT and go and say, hey, I'm building this agent. What's a great prompt to use for it? These are my goals. And then use natural language to go and build the prompt for your own agent. And so here we have, beyond just the basic one, it's saying financial analyst with deep expertise, as well as focusing on the financial highlights, major announcements or product updates, forward-looking insights, and competitive analysis. A lot more detail and focus to provide for our agent. And then next, when you want to add your data, what we can go back and do is we'll be going back to Azure AI Foundry. So we touched on this before last week with deployments on how to deploy your model. And I have a preference for GPT-4o Mini, which I think is a great fast model. And then this week, we'll be going through, and then we can go and add our data. And so that will be the focus here. And so all you have to do, click add your data, and then you have multiple different data sources you can choose from. If you already have data in Azure and Azure AI Search, you can select that option as well. You have also the choice of going directly from URL or website, and then blob storage, Cosmos DB. And then if you're just starting out and you want to try it, I think just uploading some quick files, it makes it really easy. So it selects the Azure subscription. So you need to have Azure subscription. It's free to sign up for if you don't have one. And then you create a blob storage, which I've already created, and then Azure AI Search resource, which I've already created here, but you can just click on these links if you need to create one off the bat, and then you can do a name for your index, and then vector search is a way to really power up the accuracy of your search later on, because it vectorizes all the data. But right now, for simplicity, we're just going to go ahead and move forward. And so right here for clicking to upload the data, I've already, just from the Microsoft site, already picked out and downloaded the files from Microsoft and on my computer. And now we're uploading them up to the cloud. So then we go through, upload in progress. We have the upload here, and all the files successfully uploaded. We can just click through here and determine what type of search. So keyword is your basic keyword search, where semantic gets another layer of actually understanding the language. So I would say you definitely want to at least go over semantic or vector, and then there's chunking sizes that takes the granularity of what data, of the chunks of data that your model takes through. But you can dive in deeper with all these links here if you're curious. And then last, for the data connection, there's different types. API key is the quickest, easiest way to get started. System assigned managed identity can give more comprehensive auth option. And so you can go through here. And what ends up happening is Azure AI Foundry ingest the data, will go through, process it all for you. And then when that's done ingesting, which can take a minute or two, so I've already got it loaded up here, you end up getting something like this, where you have your uploaded files, the index name, as well as a search, and then you can have some advanced settings for the strictness, as well as how many documents you want to retrieve per response. But for our build, when you want to go through and get your data, since we selected key authentication before, we can go to the key authentication and we have our usual endpoint, our regular API key model, but then at the top, we also have in here, you can see we have our search endpoint right here that you have to go and look through. And then there is also a search API key as well in here. And so you would be grabbing that. And then when we go back to our template, now what we can go through here is go back to the config.json. And this is where we can add in our data source. And so just for the demo, of course, I'm not putting in my own API key here, but you would just be entering, okay, Azure Search, our index name that we had created a name before, the endpoint, the key, and then we have our data all connected to our template. So that's great and an easy way to get set up and started. And then for the next part, then we can go to our app.ts. And then you remember last week, we had the feedback loop and we were the thumbs up, thumbs down. So right here, we have the part of the logic for the feedback loop, and you're allowed to then, one of the things is connect the feedback loop actually to data sources. So you can actually save your data to your feedback. Right now, with this, we're just going to have it go sent to the console. So that we can see live some of the feedback, and we'll be entering in that feedback. And then one last thing we can do with code, which is nice, is we can have our extra little bits of customizations. So here I'm adding in the specific Azure API version that I want to go through and utilize for our build, which is 2024-02-15. You can go and tweak other things that you want, such as that. That's the joy of pro code customization, if there's a specific version or variation. And then the last thing that we're going to do is in the manifest.json file, we can customize some of our zero prompts. So here we have pre-built in. How can you help me? How to develop a Teams Toolkit app? But what you can actually do is then decide just to replace that. Again, I'm copying and pasting just for ease of doing this and a little bit speed too. So here we go. I'm changing this for to analyze Microsoft's earning call because we have a financial analyst earnings. And just a little thank you on the call. So these zero prompts will pop up first when using your agent, as well as people can reference it later for quick engagement with your app. And so with those couple things already, we can go ahead and then start debugging. And one thing that you want to do with the Teams Toolkit is you log in to your M365 account right here and make sure that you have custom app uploading enabled. So if you don't, you can go in and dive through. At the end, I'll share a link with a more detailed follow through on how to get that enabled that you can go through. But that will set you up to then go through debug in Teams. And then if you hit debug, then that starts running the debug process. But I've already got this up real quick just for time. And so you can see here, we have our Teams AI earnings call analyst. So you just click that zero prompt like we were just talking about before. And then you can go ahead, send real quick already. And then let's go ahead. It's live. Let's see if it goes through and works. So you can see the response is coming. And look at that. That's a really great detailed answer that's customized based on that data we uploaded from Microsoft's earnings call, where we see 65.6 billion in total revenue, 16 increase. So it's lots of great stuff going on here. Good year for Microsoft. And then a lot of this was driven by our AI business which is establishing it as the fastest growing segment in the company's history. So a big thank you to all of you for building agents and helping propel this, but then it also goes to show how much value that we're bringing with AI and agents across the entire world. And then you're able to get incredible analysis right here with detailed citations off of our data, and then have those discussions with your agent. And then since it's teams, it's not just one-on-one. You can also go through the similar thing where you're adding an agent to a channel, so the whole team can interact with it. So it's very exciting to go through and build. And and so that is our agent build today with going through our custom data. And so the very last part that I have to say here is just with adding on single sign-on to make it one of the nice benefits of Teams and M365. You're already logged into Teams, so how to get that authentication, a quick way to do it is definitely recommend single sign-on as a great option, so users don't have to re-log into your agent if you're already logged into Teams. And then the Teams AI library can easily implement this along with bot framework to utilize that auth. And then if you're looking to get started today, go and use this bit.ly link for the Copilot Camp Agent Lab, and then this will get you started with going through everything that I just showed you today, along with things like auth and then adding in additional actions. So highly encourage everyone to go through that. But that is the demo today, and then we'll be diving into more stuff next week. Thanks so much, everyone. I'll hand it back to you, Vesa. Oh, and
Thank you,
actually,
Carter.
one more thing,
Yep.
just in the chat, I'm posting that link as well. Yeah, thanks.
Excellent. Thank you, Carter, on that one. Really, really cool stuff. And it is quite easy to do that with Teams Toolkit. So yes, you need to do some Azure stuff and all of that stuff. But again, it's easy to get started then getting the integrations in place with Microsoft Teams and all of that stuff, which is awesome. Thank you, Carter, on that one. And next week, we're going to actually continue on the series, which is cool. Cool. Now, let's then move to the second demo of today. So we're going to talk about getting started with SharePoint agents. So we could have actually done this in a different order as well, because SharePoint agents is technically a no-code agents. We went through first a bit of a custom agent models with Teams AI Toolkit, but let's now deep dive on the getting started with SharePoint agents, which is really the easiest way to get started on creating your agents for Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now, technically, this works really, really, really easily. So, of course, in Microsoft Ignite, we already announced that this is now GA and this is available. But what it basically means that with SharePoint, you can create agents which are based on data and information within a documents super easily. Most of your files, many of our customer files are actually stored in SharePoint, and you can actually just create these agents with a click of a button based on the files, based on the site and all of that, and we're going to see that in the demo today. So we also are rolling out additional set of agents, obviously, as part of the Copilot, and a lot of features coming up as well. Today, we'll talk a bit about the future roadmap on the SharePoint agents as well. But with SharePoint agents, we really want to make sure that you who are invested in Microsoft 365, you have your, let's say, HR guidance, your product specification, your IT guidance information, all of that stuff available already in SharePoint. You can actually create agents out of all of those things super easily, and you're able to expose those agents in Microsoft Teams with chats in the same way as we saw in the previous demo, or you're able to engage with them by yourself. But there's multiple ways of actually doing this and using these agents in the future. So really great opportunity and option to get started on using Copilot with your custom agent. And then, of course, you're able to extend even further with Copilot Studio on top of Microsoft SharePoint agents. Now, A lot of the stuff, obviously, the content, the files and data, news, and all of that stuff is actually stored in SharePoint. The agents are the ones which we empower actually even end users to create, depending on settings, depending on administrative configuration options. We're going to talk about and reference point all of that guidance today as well. But you're able to actually create agents, and then you're able to take those agents directly into a discussion, for example, in conversation in Microsoft Teams, which is a great option to more efficiently access the information which you have stored within the Microsoft 365. And this really drives the business transformation, because now we're talking about AI-powered AI giving us more productivity, AI getting us more efficient, AI giving us access on all of the information much more efficiently than just in the previous technologies. And we're going to see all of that within the demo as well. Now, the common business cases, I think we've gone through some of this in the past demos as well. But if we think about the common use cases, customer services, if you are a support personnel, you have a question from the customer in a GitHub or in a whatever ticketing system, having an agent in place where you can ask in a natural language, hey, we have this kind of case, do you have a matching cases, or what is the guidance for this? Having an agent, an AI agent answering those questions directly, and we're able to bypass the information for customers. Really great example. Sales example, increasing sales conversion rates, making it more efficient for comparing between the sales engagements, financial engagement, marketing engagement. I've actually done a lot of, from a marketing perspective, I've been doing for example, this week planning of some upcoming live streams in YouTube, and I've been brainstorming that together with Copilot 365, which is actually incredibly powerful. So having somebody to talk to on making sure that you go through the right steps, walking through what are the OKRs, what are the objectives of the live streams, all of that. So not just having yourself thinking through those things, having somebody who's brainstorming with you to be more efficient and be more productive and giving stuff available. And of course, HR, legal, law stuff, all of that is a great example of checking some information based on HR information. You need to ask that, hey, how many days do I actually get time off this year? Depending on a company, you're able to get all of that information just in a natural language as an answer in the agent format. Now, as we start creating these agents, we do have multiple different ways of doing those. We technically can provide or divide the different options to no-code, low-code, and pro-code options. There's few different ways of actually categorizing these things, but no-code option is SharePoint agents. So technically, we can just create SharePoint agents with a click of a button. I think I promised 20 seconds in the title of the demo today. Let's actually do a counting as we go through the demo. Is it 20 seconds or not? Then on top of that, we can absolutely use Agent Builder, which is powered by the Copilot Studio. It is basically a super easy to do agents directly within Microsoft 365 Copilot chat, so that we have the Agent Builder placed over there. Then if we need to do a bit more advanced scenarios, actions, and integration of backend systems, all of that, Copilot Studio is great on that. Technically, Copilot Studio does give you the option of creating also custom engine agents. So Copilot Studio is a really broad, so we wouldn't just say that it's low code. Technically, it's also no code or pro code. So Copilot Studio is really hard to actually put on this map. And then we have the Teams Toolkit for giving the pro code options, like we saw actually the demo today. And then, of course, we have the AI Foundry and Azure OpenAI options on top of that. So it's not just limited in here, but if you think about extending Microsoft 365 Copilot, you could actually, in higher level, you could kind of categorize these options in here. Now, we're going to go through the demos. There's a great question, actually, on Carol in the chat. I'm going to call this out for those who are watching the video as well. The question is about, what about SharePoint lists? Is SharePoint list currently available? Right now, as this recording is happening, SharePoint list data is not yet under the Copilot intelligence, so to say. So it's not getting indexed using the semantics index. So that information is not available. So that's right now the limitations or the functionalities are focused more on files. All of this is evolving. We're going to talk about the roadmap after coming back from the demo. So there's a lot of stuff which is evolving within weeks or within months and within upcoming years. So nothing is locked for now. This is just getting started. Now let's actually have a look on the baseline experience on SharePoint agents, and let's see if my 20 seconds estimate is accurate. So I'm going to go to my demo tenant here, which we've been using for a lot of demos in recently. I'm going to create a site. Wait a minute, why am I creating sites? So, well, let's walk this through. So I'm going to create a site. Doesn't really matter if it's a team site or communication site anymore, because I'm just creating a site. There's certain starting point differences between these in a layout, but you can basically make them both look exactly the same. We can select a template if we want. I'm not going to select the template, so we're going to be a bit faster. Well, actually, let's go back in here. Let's make it look a bit nicer. Now, that's not a good template. Let's go back in here. Let's do learning portal. That's good. There we go. And let's give it a name and call this as a learning portal. And I'm going to create the site, select language is in English, and at this moment of a time, the site creation actually already started. Applying templates is ongoing. If we're calculating seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I said 20, which is pretty close because I started calculating pretty late. Now, what I mean with the fact that an agent was created within 20 seconds is that every single SharePoint site is by default an agent. And what we mean with that is that technically we have a Copilot already available here, and we have an agent automatically created for the site. So any information and files which I'm getting uploaded on the site are directly available within this agent. That's basically the default agent within this site, and then I have some additional agents available from other sites within the tenant, which are listed there. But now if I upload any files to any document library within this site, they're underneath this experience and I can start asking questions on it. That's kind of cool. Okay, so I can do 20 seconds. We can have an agent which is then capable using the OpenAI 4.0 and doing semantics index behind the documents. I can ask information. Kind of cool, and I don't need to deep dive on the documents. I can just ask the relevant documents directly within the chat. Now, in this case, I just created the site, so there's no content. That's a bad demo. So let's actually go to a site which was created previously, which is a solar energy site, which I've created a pretty long time ago already for a lot of the demos. But in this case, let me actually open up the site data. This is basically a site dedicated for our solar energy products, and the information within the site contains product information. So now I can start asking something like, hey, do we know any information? Let me actually zoom in a bit. Yeah, on A200 series panel. So I don't know what's in the site. I don't know the document structure. It's just a lot of files in here, but I can actually start asking questions because I know this is the location where all of our product information is being stored. I don't need to search for it. I don't need to, find the relevant information inside of the doc files. All of that information is available directly within a chat because I know somewhere within the site, in the document libraries, that relevant information is. So now I can start asking relevant questions about my business case, about my need on that moment. And I can ask, for example, benefits of A200 panels and all of that, and it's able to actually give me that. So I don't need to go to the file. I don't need to open up the file. I don't need to solve the benefits. What are the benefits of 200 panels? No. The agent is giving me the results directly. The SharePoint site agent is giving me directly the results, which is kind of cool. Now, where it actually gets really interesting, the agents and SharePoint agents, is also the fact that I can have multiple agents in a single site. And what we mean with that one is that I can create as many agents as needed based on the information what I have. So as an example, we could actually go to solar panel estimates within the document folder, and we can see completed installation projects. Let me close that for a while. And we can see that we have like 10 different installation projects, which we have done at some point on the customers. So let's go to the Vans project plan. Let's have a look on that one quickly. That document is something like a Contoso 400 installation on Vans property, Santa Barbara, California. Okay, so these are basically summaries of what we have done for our customers around our products. That's pretty cool. So let's now create a quick agent on this one. And there it is, an agent is created. So what I technically did, nothing more than selected the files and click create an agent. and I have my own agent available to ready to get used. Now I can edit the agent. I can basically say this is my customer projects agent, which is dedicated for that folder. I have the description. This is really the description for the end user on what does this agent actually provide. So we can basically say this is an agent around our customer projects for future reference. Good. Let's quick the typos. There we go. And then I have the sources tab. So sources tab is really interesting because from here we can actually see where exactly, what are the files and what were the files we actually included in as the source files. We also can see things like add advanced customizations in Copilot Studios. So this is something which is coming up later. So we're able to actually get the SharePoint agent migrated directly to the Copilot Studio. So SharePoint agent first, and then if you need to have more advanced capabilities, then you're able to move it in the Copilot Studio. And the behaviors, it's then something which actually focuses on the agent behavior. So this is something, if you're familiar with ChatGPT or creating agents in some of the other platforms, you basically have the welcome message, which is for end user. We have the starter prompts. Those are the ones which we can see on the right side here. It could be something like what projects we have around, what projects we have deployed around a 400 series panel. There we go. So as a starting point, and I can actually test it right away, and I can run it, and I can actually see, do we actually get example results from the A400 panels? And it's basically giving us the information and also read details around that deployments. And I could actually start deep diving again on the exact details on that panel and product information. And then we also have the instruction for agent. This is technically the system prompt, which you can modify the behavior of that agent. So you could actually make the agent really, really focused on certain scenarios, tell it to behave certain ways in a certain tone, which is something what we would typically include in here. But that's kind of how we create this. So super simple to create. We just select, I'm going to actually close, well, actually, let's save this and close this one. And we just select the files, create an agent, and we are good to go. And right now, as I created this agent in here, if I refresh the document library, we can actually see my agent file getting created. So the cool thing about the agent files is also that the agents which we create in SharePoint, they are actually files. And what I mean with that one is that these files can really easily be shared, and they actually, of course, follow up on the permissions, behaviors as files. So if I share it to you, you need to have, if I share it to you with a sharing link, you can get access on it, but it always looks for the permissions and it never gives any information about any of the files. If you don't have permissions to it, all of the ACLs and all of that actually are available on that thing. Now, the individual files themselves, they are files. And if we quickly do the classic example on this one, so if I download this file to my device, if I open up the file, let's see where it actually opens. It opened in my Visual Studio Code. So what I did, I downloaded the file and I open up the file in the Visual Studio Code. We can actually see that these are actually let me actually put it in JSON, declarative Copilot. And let me always forget about it. Where's the format? Format. Now my quick numbers are thinking. Anyway, let's do that. No.
I think you can right-click a new format. If I'm now.
Yes, that's actually a good point. Thank you. Format selection. There we go. Excellent. So now, if you have a look on the JSON file, a bit more detailed, or the file agent file in a bit detailed, it is actually JSON definition, and we can see the configuration in here. We can also see that the files are coming from that particular folder structure, and that lists that unique item and a folder and all of that. So basically, it is a declarative Copilot, because it's defining its content and limitation and behavior within the JSON in a declarative format. So, and that's actually the image which we see as the image of the agent. Now, in my case, I have actually here one previously created agent. So let me actually close that one. And let me actually go one step up here. Actually, let's go to the document side. Something really classical, which is super valuable about the SharePoint agent, would be something like product specification. So yes, I could use search. I could find the relevant files, and I can easily ask about A200 series file behavior. If we have a look on the files, by the way, let's have a quick look on those. These are basically just file details on the product offerings, what the company has. But forcing me as the end user to go through files and have a look on the benefits of those files is not necessarily as beneficial and fast than me going to the actual agent. And I can actually ask about, for example, so an FAQ for A200 panel solar, or I could say something like, what is the specification for mounted solar panel array for 1,500, 200 square feet of homes? I don't know even what that means because in the European square feet doesn't mean anything. But for US people, I think that doesn't mean anything. So, but I could actually start asking questions from that. So rather than me, again, going to the product files and starting to review the content and trying to figure out which panel would be suitable for the 1,500, 200 square meter feet homes, I can ask from the agent. And I'm saving so much time, and it's actually giving me the insights and all of that panel types and details as well. But it's giving me the insights that, well, the suitable panel for that size home would be a 100. That's actually really cool. So I'm saving a lot of time. Now, the cool thing doesn't actually just end there. And again, you in a one SharePoint site, you get the default Copilot, but you can actually create as many Copilots based on the folders and files and whatever is your use case. I can actually take these agents and I can take them with me. And what I mean with that one is that I can, for example, offer my frontline workers easy access on that agent using Microsoft Teams, which is the easiest way to then ask questions about the information, or for example, the product information. So now if we can see the product specification agent is in here, if I select that one, we can see that it's the same agent which we're using just previously. If I see FAQ, if I run that one, let's double check that it's actually working properly. Showing FAQ A200 panel array, getting ready, and here we go. We can actually get the information. Cool, that is all working properly. So now what I can do is take this with me and take this not just in in a SharePoint, but I can take it to a Teams as well. So if I copy this URL, it's now copied. I can actually go to Teams and have a discussion directly with the Copilot by myself, or I could do something like a start a discussion with CJ, like let's invite CJ on this one. And start, have you reviewed the latest around A200 panels? There's a small typo there, but it doesn't actually matter. But we could, of course, have a discussion with the CJ around those panels. But wouldn't it be cool, because we have the agent, that we are able to get the agent involved? And that's really the beauty of these agents as well. So I can actually get the agent involved in the chat with us right now in the private chats or the discussion and group chats, pretty soon also in channel chats and all the different other scenarios. So now if I say get that one involved, so there we go. We have an agent coming involved. At this moment of the time, it will actually double check that CJ has access on the permissions. It would actually give us warnings on all of that stuff if needed. I can add the agent as part of our discussion. And then I can say something like, hey, well, CJ is not the specialist, but we have the product specification agent, which is the specialist about our products. So now I can start asking questions from it directly, or I can say product specification agent. What would be the right home size for a 100 panel series solar panels? So now I'm actually asking the questions directly from the agent, and the agent is actually answering me based on the information within those files. Once again, me as an end user, I don't need to go to the files, start reviewing the files, opening all of the thousands of files. It will actually give me the answer. So now you can think of this as a frontline workers with their iPads visiting customers, or in a building sites accessing Microsoft Teams, and they can actually start asking right answers and information around the specifications and whatever the files are containing, based on their business case directly within the Microsoft Teams. The most magical thing also is that I can actually flip the language if needed. So the agents are smart enough to give me answers and information also in different languages. So now if I'm saying, voitko kertoa minulle A200-sarjan aurinkopaneeleista? Let's say how many actually understood what I'm asking. The beauty of the agents and LLMs is that they're smart enough to understand the language which I'm actually using. So even though the source files are in English, oh, and I'm missing actually who am I asking that? I didn't ask that. Let's copy that and product specification agent, and let's actually add the question over there. Oh, nope, that's not what I'm actually trying to do. Come on. Why are you here? Okay, here we go. Product, let's mention the product specification agent. There we go. And let's ask the question in Finnish directly from it. That is, by the way, Finnish. If you don't understand, that's Finnish. The product specification agent is all of a sudden smart enough to understand that, oh, wait a minute, this person actually is looking into this information, but they seem to be using Finnish. So therefore, what I'm going to do is something super magical, and I'm going to answer in Finnish. So it's going to translate the information which it actually has in the English, in those English source files, but it's going to translate that to the end user's language because it's using LLM and multilingual language translation capabilities, and it's giving me the answers in Finnish format around the questions. And that's pretty magical, right? That's really cool. Now I'm watching the clock. We are a bit over time. I do apologize on that one. I got a bit distracted because it's exciting features, but I want to call out a few things. So on the roadmap in November, we called out a few things. So edit and share ready-made SharePoint agents. Right now, the ready-made SharePoint agents are basically site-level agents, and you cannot edit and share them easily. And that's all in the roadmap. Include OneDrive files, create your own customized agents in OneDrive, create agents for your SharePoint hub sites. All of that is in the roadmap. The Copilot Studio integration for advanced customization is in the roadmap as well. So you can start with SharePoint agents with the snap of a finger, and then you can start modifying, extending them more in the Copilot Studio. Now, if you're interested in using SharePoint Agent, we do have a SharePoint Agent trial promotion ongoing. So if you do have more than 50 Microsoft Copilot licenses, Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses in your organization, you qualify for 10,000 free SharePoint Agent queries for unlicensed users every month as trial for free. And this is a great option to get familiar if your organization has a small amount of Copilot licenses already acquired, and the no Copilot licensed persons can actually already start using the SharePoint agents as well. Great option. Here's a set of links for all of that information. So the trial agents getting started, pay-as-you-go option as well is available. So you don't have to necessarily have the Copilot license for everybody or a subset of people. So that option is available. All of those details available in our documentation. Thank you, David, for sharing the links in the chat. A lot of guidance and options available here. But that's it for that one. Thank you for joining on the SharePoint agent intro. Watching the clock. I went a bit long time today. I do apologize on that one. Next week, we do have 3 demos coming up. So we have Carter coming back on latest features in the Teams AI library on January 2025 edition. Maybe it's already February 2025, we can call it, but latest capabilities in there. John Miller is coming back for a Teams AI app CI/CD, so continuous integration, continuous deployment with Microsoft Teams app. And then I'm going to talk about building your first declarative agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot using the Teams toolkit. So a bit of an intro on that as well. So that's on 28th of January, so a week from now. In the meanwhile, feel free to use our Discord server for questions and discussions and engagement. If you are in the Discord, great option to engage with the community as well. Not a replacement of other forums, but just an additional options if you are already in Discord as well. We're always looking for feedback as well on these calls, so please do give us feedback on what works and what doesn't work, and how did you like about the demos. Super valuable for us to be able to continue these calls also in the future. The recording of this call will be available in 24 hours at Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel at AKMS Community YouTube. Please subscribe there. You will stay up to date on what's happening. And then LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Twitter, we always share the updates over there. Easiest way to get notified when a new video or new content is available. But that's it for now. Next community call, January 28th. thank you for joining today. Sorry for going a few minutes long. Hopefully that was fine. Hopefully the demo was worth it. And if you needed to drop, hopefully you were able to see the recording afterwards. But thank you everybody for joining. Let's stay in touch. Thanks everybody. Cheers. Bye-bye.